Right, let's get some more reaction to the news today that former Rangers and Scotland manager Walter Smith has passed away at the age of 73. We're joined now by the former Rangers captain, Terry Butcher. Terry, thank you so much for joining us today. Just tell us what it was like to work with Walter Smith.
It was incredible. If you ever got on the end of a loud shout from him or his voice was raised, you knew you were in deep trouble, because he normally spoke very quietly. He normally was very assured and everything else and told you what to do. But if he raised his voice, you were in trouble. And when I first joined Rangers in about '86, he raised his voice several times because I wasn't quite doing what he wanted me to do. But we got to know him very well, and we had a great relationship, as he did with all the other players as well. And he certainly made his presence felt by, talking to players quietly, speaking to them. Graham Souness was the manager. He went about his work, but Walter really was the driving force behind the scenes, and he told us all about who to mark and where players go and all the tactics from the opposition. So they made a good partnership, a great partnership, and it was just a pleasure to have him as a manager and a coach.
Yeah, lots of people say that his tactics were quite something. Was that your experience?
Yeah, we didn't do a lot of tactical work at Rangers. It was a bit similar to what Graham Souness did at Liverpool, just playing the 5-a-sides, 8-a-sides, 9-a-sides, whatever it was, and you learn on the job sort of thing in competitive games. But Walter would, he'd take you aside, he'd take the back four aside sometimes afterwards, after Graham had gone in, and then we would do all the work that you coaches normally do with special units in the team. But tactically, what he said stuck. Everybody had to do what he said, not so much what Graham said, but what he said, because he was really as I said, the driving force. And if you please Walter, you please Graham, and you please the football club and the fans. So it was in that order.
Terry, you said you didn't want to get on the end of a loud shout from him, but people also say he had a great sense of humour. Is that what you thought about him?
Yeah, he had a great sense of humour. He also had a good punch as well, because we used to go pre-season to Italy, and we used to go on the team bus during on the Wednesday during the week. We had a week there without any alcohol apart from those Wednesdays. So we went down to the village, and we had a good few beers in the bars, and as much as you could drink. Graham Souness allowed that, and then we get back on the bus to go up the hill to our base camp. And me and Chris Woods used to stand on the middle of the bus and go back to back, and we used to take on all comers. It was no head shots apparently. But then you'd see the barrage would come in from all the Scottish players, and then you'd get Walter on the seat, standing on the seats, and he would be punching over the top to us, and it would normally hit us in the head somewhere. So Walter was a bit sneaky, but he was great because he joined in with all the action and joined in with the players. But he knew when to step back and when he was the coach and when he was in charge. So he was great fun, a great sense of humour, a great guy, and it was just an absolute pleasure to be taught by him, to mix with his company and to know him.
Oh, Terry, brilliant. That sounds like proper old school. You, of course, went on to face him in the opposing dugout when he was back at Rangers for a second time. How good was that team he had?
Well, it was incredible. Going to Ibrox was always going to be difficult with a provincial team. I was with him, Cali Thistle, Inverness Cali Thistle, and I also went there with Motherwell as well. And you knew you got onto a hammering if you didn't, knuckle down and get the tactics right. But there are times when I've gone into to the coach's room after games and they've thumped us, and he didn't change. He wasn't cocky, he wasn't arrogant, never ever like that. But he would come over to you and just say one or two things about the team, and I liked him, and he did well, and all this sort of thing. And he made you feel good, and he made you feel like, okay, we've beaten you today and beaten you well, but we've got. You've got some good players in the team, and if you keep doing what you're doing, then you'll be fine. And he was like that, and you listened and hung on to every word that he said, good or bad, because he knew all about the game and he knew what to do, and he knew about every department of the game and how to get teams to win. So whatever little juicy nugget he would throw your way after games, whether they'd beaten us or. We did go in sometimes when we'd won, and I had to apologise and knock on the door, and thinking I'm going to get a few harsh words. So I had to apologise for Walter for us winning the game, but that wasn't very often, I'll put it that way.
Terry, it's an absolute pleasure to hear your reminiscences of a great man of football. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
It was a pleasure, thank you.